Question 21 was as follows. Write the four inequalities that define the unshaded region R on the diagram below. So we are supposed to define or write the inequalities that would define the unshaded area. So if you're wondering which area is not shaded, so on this diagram the unshaded area is this one. Okay, so this is unshaded area, which is denoted by R. So this is the inequalities we want to define that will describe the unshaded area, the one of circled there inside, which is denoted by the letter R. So what we're going to do, now is I'm going to name each line by the letters. So the first one will be A, then B, then the next one I'm going to skip this dotted line. Instead, I'm going to write C there on top and D down here. The reason I've written like this because I know this line D will involve a bit of some work. So I want to do a lot of work at the end. And when you look at A, B, C, they are similar. That's why I want them to be dealt with at the same time, okay, because they have the similar idea. Okay, so now let's start with the line A. So line A is crossing the x-axis on point 1. So let me put the dot there. Okay, that is 1 there. That's the point where line A is crossing. So with that, when you look at line A, you see that the shaded part is on the left side, which means that the shaded part is less than the unshaded part. So R is greater than the shaded part of the line A. So we can write the inequality as A, which we can say X is greater than or equal to 1. X is greater than or equal to 1, because the unshaded part has got larger numbers on the x-axis, has got larger numbers or equal to 1. Okay, so that's how we can define the line A. Okay, we come to the line B. So line B is here and the dot is on this point, which is 5. I'm putting dots because the numbers 5s are not on the exact point. Okay, so that is 5. So how can we describe the line B? So we can describe line B as you can see, line B, the shaded part is on the right side, which means the line B is crossing the x-axis and the shaded part is on the right side. That means the shaded part is greater than the unshaded part. So we're saying the shaded part is greater than R. So what we're going to do is we're going to define this as the shaded area, the unshaded area, which is presented by X. So we can say X is less than or equal to 5. X is less than or equal to 5. So the unshaded part is less than the shaded part when we consider the line B. Okay, now we can go to line C. Please, if you have got questions, you can ask in the comment section. If you need clarification, I'm going to clarify on any question you're going to ask, so you can ask in the comment section. Let's come to line C. So when you look at line C, the unshaded part is down and the line C is crossing the y-axis, which is at this point, which is 4. Okay, the point there is 4. So since the line C is crossing the y-axis on point 4, that means the shaded part is also on top of the unshaded part, which is R. That means the unshaded part is less than 4 or it's less than 4 or equal to 4. Therefore, we can come up with an inequality which is y is less than or equal to 4. Y is less than or equal to 4. That's the inequality. Okay, that's the third inequality. Now let's come to the last one, which is D. Okay, the line D is crossing the x-axis as well as the y-axis. So it is crossing the y-axis on 3 and the x-axis on 5. So these are the 2 points where this line is crossing the x-axis and the y-axis respectively. So what we can say now is, first we are going to come up with the coordinates for both points where this line is crossing the x and y axis. Okay, let's start with a point where this line is crossing the y axis. The coordinates for point where this is crossing the x axis is 0, 3. Okay, so where it's crossing the y axis, it's meeting the y axis where the x axis is reading 0 and the y axis is reading 3. When you come down here where this line is crossing the x-axis, where it is also crossing the B line, you find that it is crossing the point where I'm saying we are now is here. Okay, here we have already found the coordinates. Now we are here down, so we are saying this line is crossing the x-axis. The point where this line is crossing the x-axis has the coordinates which are 5, 0. Okay, so these are the coordinates. Now once we found the coordinates, as we can see, this line is crossing the x-axis and the y-axis. So that means it's going to have a lot of work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come up with the formula we use to find the equation of the line. So the formula we use to find the equation of the line is this one, which is y is equal to mx plus c. So m is the gradient, y is the reading on the y-axis, x is the reading on the x-axis, and then plus c. C is the y-intercept, where the graph is crossing the y-axis. Okay, that is c, which is a constant. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to replace them with the values. So we're going to write y is equal to, what is the gradient? From the graph we cannot tell the gradient. So what are we going to do? Because we are not able to get the gradient from the graph. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the same equation, which is y. We're going to use the equation we used to find the gradient, which is m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, once we have found this, now we need to identify which one is x1 and which one is x2 and which one is y2 and which one is y1. Okay, so what we're going to do is now we're going to identify first for y2. So to get y2, we are going to come here on these coordinates. That's why we're going to get y2. So where we have got the coordinates which is 5, 0. So the value of y there is 0. Okay, the value of y is 0. The reading of y is 0. So what we're going to do now, we're going to write 0, then minus, where is y1? We're getting y1 here. Okay, so y1, the reading on y1 on those coordinates, I'm sure you're able to see these coordinates I wrote, which is 0, 3. The reading of y there is 3. So what we're going to do now here is going to write minus 3, which will be over. Now we come to x2, which one is as the reading of x2. So we're going to come here again, we look what is the reading of x in that coordinate. We have learned that the reading of x is 5. So that means we're going to write 5, then 5 minus x1. So what is the value of x1? So again we're going to go to these coordinates here. Okay, what's the reading of x in those coordinates, which is 3, which is 0, 3. The reading of x on those coordinates is 0. So we're going to write 5 minus 0. Okay, then let's work out that 0 minus 3 will give us negative 3. then 5 minus 0 will give us 5. So we're going to have negative 3 over 5. That will be the gradient. So the gradient is negative 3 over 5. So we go there on the middle. We come back here on the middle here. We complete this now equation, because remember we want to come up with the equation that would define this straight line. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go there. So what we're going to do now here is we're going to write where there is m, we're going to put negative 3 over 5. Okay, so we're going to write negative 3 over 5, then negative 3 over 5, then we write negative 3 over 5x, then plus the constant or the y-intercept. So where are we going to get the y-intercept? So the y-intercept will be gotten on this, from this area. Okay, will be gotten from the area that is where this line is crossing the y-axis. That's why we're going to get the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, when you look at that, is reading that it's 3. I'm sure you are clear, because we are talking about this chord here. That point, that is 3. That is the y-intercept. That is where this line is crossing the y-axis. So that is y-intercept. So we're going to say y is equal to negative 3 over 5x plus, now the y-intercept we found that is 3. So we're going to say plus 3. Okay, now that is, now we have come up with the equation that defines this line. Okay, now we need to change this equation to become the inequality. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put the greater or less than sign. So now when we look at this line, the unshaded part is on top. That means the line is going to be, the unshaded part will be greater. So we are going, y is going to be greater than, so we're going to say y is greater than negative 2, also negative 3 over 5x plus 3. So that is the equation. Now what we have come up with here, what we have come up with here is an equation. Okay, that is an equation. Now once we have come up with that an equation, then we can now come on where we are writing answers. We can now write D, we can say D is y is greater than negative 3 over 5x plus 3. That is the fourth inequality. So if you have got questions, like I said earlier on, you can ask in the comment section, but otherwise that is how you find the inequalities that define unshaded area, like the one in the diagram. So if you have got questions, ask in the comment section. Otherwise, let's go to the next question.